Okay, I want to talk about an extremely important topic that is serious and is something which some of you, and I hope it's only the minority of you, will deal with at some point. Now, what I'll say is if you don't know what the word is in the title, you don't know what that means, and you haven't been affected by that, then please click off this video and go and watch something else. Okay? Because I don't even want the idea in your head. This video is going to be for those who have had this idea, are having this idea, are dealing with it right now. I'm going to try and help you to overcome it, to deal with it, solve it. Okay? What I'm also going to do is I'm going to link two essays or articles that I've written on this topic. Okay? One of them is actually an article plus some resources that you can use in terms of questions that will help you to find your way out of this darkness. Another one which I've just written, just finished, um, which basically again walks through the logic of this and helps you to understand why it is not acceptable and so on. Okay. I'll also link as normal as standard the document which has all the different resources, people you can call, people you can message, you can text to get help. Excuse me. Okay. So so the topic of this video is dealing with suicide and suicidal thoughts. Now, fundamentally speaking, the way I want to approach this is I want to explain to you, okay, in a very short way, why suicide is never acceptable. It's never an option, it's never acceptable, it's never okay. It's never a good thing, it's never a possibility that you can entertain. It's always a no. It's never allowed. Okay? Now, the easiest way that I can do this, okay, is to basically walk through how do you become this suicidal and then what is the reality of suicide itself? Okay. So to simplify, basically people become suicidal when they become extremely sad. Yeah. When they face and deal with a lot of pain, emotional pain, what you could call psychological pain. And this pain they feel like is so intense, too intense, that they don't want to live with it anymore. They feel like there's no solution to it. And they feel like this will continue as long as I'm alive. Thus, they make the logical conclusion that the only way to get rid of it is to die, and thus they conclude, therefore, I must kill myself. I must commit suicide. This is the logic of suicide, how you get from sadness to suicide. So, we're going to deal with this, and then we're going to get to the suicide itself. So, the first thing is to recognize, okay, is that the pain you are going through, valid as it is, yes, your pain is valid in terms of feeling it. That's fine. But the reality is that no matter how much pain you are going through, okay, I need you to be serious when you watch this video, okay? I need you to be locked in, because I'm not just talking here. No matter how much pain you are going through, the reality of your pain, okay, is it is nowhere near the actual quantity of pain that you're attributing to it. Take, for example, you're extremely depressed because you have lost a loved one, a parent, for example, or a brother or something like that, a sister, child, maybe. Very bad thing, of course. But the pain you are feeling, okay, imagine if it wasn't just that loved one that you lost, but it was all of your family, completely, all of them. They were gone. And now imagine not just your family, but your friends also, all gone. Okay, now imagine there was a disease that went through your neighborhood and wiped out all your neighbors, all the people you love and cared about. Now, just with this here, the pain has already, you can see the difference from one person, which is terrible, of course, to what it could be. Yes? Now, we can even make it worse. We can even say, now imagine like a nuclear bomb hit the city, hit the world. And we can ramp this up. Imagine it wasn't death that took your loved one. Imagine it was another country from outside invaded your country and took you and your loved one. Or imagine you had to watch them die, they got shot. Or imagine they were taken as a slave and you can't do anything to stop it. So you can see or imagine they were struck with a intense illness and you watch them die slowly. And this happened now to all of your family, all your loved ones. So my point is, and it's very likely that your pain is nothing to do actually on that level, even the loved one level. It's probably much smaller than that. So my point is, okay, that if you actually look at your pain properly with an objective lens, you will see that it's actually far smaller than what you think it is, how you're seeing it. And this is very important to recognize. Because if you see your pain as a big monster, as a sadness as a big monster, it will destroy you. But if you recognize that it's not a big monster, it's just a little lizard, then you gain power back. And you gain a sense of gratefulness. Your big pain gets replaced with big gratefulness. Okay? Your thoughts that this is too much for me, I can't handle it, gets replaced with, wow, I'm so grateful that things are not as bad as they could be. They're not even 1% as bad as they could be. And these things that I'm saying are not far-fetched, they're not imaginary, okay, they're not made up. In that, there are people right now in different places in the world, okay, that are dealing with these exact things that I'm telling you. Okay, just look at Palestine. How many of them lost all their family? Houses gone. Look at different places in the world where disease has swept through, no medicine for the children because they can't afford it. And go back 150 years, all of our ancestors were dealing with war, constant war. And go back some 100 years before that, we were probably dealing with slavery, multi-generational slavery, and so on. You see? It's not made up. It's very real. We should be extremely grateful for our lives. Okay? That's the first thing. Flip your pain into gratefulness by recognizing that it's actually extremely small compared to what it could be. Now, the next thing. As I said, in the logic tree, the person believed the pain is so great. We dealt with that already. It's not great. It's small compared to what it could be. It's very small. Now, the next thing was this pain is too much for me to handle and I don't want to keep on living with it. We say, I agree with you. I agree with you. You're right. But the answer is not to kill yourself. Okay? When someone gets a toothache and their mouth starts going like that, we don't say, okay, here's a gun, shoot yourself. We say, go to the dentist. That guy's gonna pull out the tooth, you're gonna be alright. Huh? So it's the same thing for mental or emotional problems. Every single problem has a solution. Okay, every emotional problem has a solution. Every psychological problem has a solution. Every physical problem has a solution. Okay, all of them. So, the only thing you need to do, I agree with you. You can't live with the pain. I agree with you. You don't need to, nor should you. So your job now is to find the solution to it, to figure out what is the cause, and then find the solution. Take the solution, and then you won't feel any more pain. You're sad and depressed and in pain because you don't have any money. Solution: make a CV. Use ChatGPT to make a good CV. Don't lie on it, but put your stuff in, tell it. Make this as good as it can be. Send it off, go get a job. Work at McDonald's or do whatever you can. Now you have money. You're problem solved. See? You're sad and depressed because you have self-esteem issues, because you're overweight or underweight. You start going for a walk. You dedicate yourself. I'm gonna walk for 5 minutes every morning, or 10 minutes, whatever. I'm gonna join the gym, whatever. You solve it. Your problems are from trauma from your past. You've gone through things as a child. You experienced things. All those services are available for you that I'm gonna put in that document. You call them, talk to them. I need help. I need someone to talk to. You can write out your experiences. You can reframe them. Here's what I went through, but these things don't have power over me because I get to decide what has power. Here's my understanding of what happened. Here's how I'm going to look at it now. You can reframe it. You have anxiety issues and these torture you and make you feel sad. Your intrusive thinking is hurting you. You learn how to deep breathe so you can relax yourself when you get triggered. Excuse me. You start to pay attention to situations where your anxiety gets triggered. You notice, okay, when I go to school and I'm in this class, I get triggered by anxiety when the teacher talks about this thing. Excuse me, you write it down. When I go online and I post a picture, if this person comments on it, I get anxious. You write it down. Eventually you figure out, okay, I get anxious and here's my pattern of what makes me anxious. It's this thing, this thing, this thing. And then you figure out your type of anxiety response. Okay, there's different kinds. One is catastrophizing, like you think the worst is gonna happen. Another is black and white thinking. You think it's either all good or all bad. A person is evil or they're good. If they do one thing, you flip them into the evil, if they, like that. Another is mind reading. You try and guess what people are thinking or how they feel about you. Excuse me, how they feel about you before they even say it, so on. You figure out your types, then you learn how to deep breathe. It's very simple. Just breathe from here. And you repeat a mantra to yourself which targets your type of anxiety. For example, you catastrophize. I'll give you, this is something that I do because I grew up around a lot of danger, around a lot of random violence, things like this. So I have a natural habit of catastrophizing. I think the worst case situations because as a response to those traumas, because in danger you need to be aware of the worst case so you can avoid it. So now I train myself. If I get triggered and I start to do that worst case thing, I tell myself no catastrophizing, no doom thinking, no doom thinking, and I deep breathe and then I relax. Okay, and then I do the thing that I was gonna do and I repeat until the thing becomes not anxiety triggering anymore. See, solution. And it's true for anything, okay, like that. Anything. You get your heart broken, you figure out, okay, she wasn't the one for you or he wasn't the one for you. Here's what I'm gonna do differently. Here's how I need to act in a relationship, and so on, like that. You figure out, that's the point. So the answer is never to kill yourself. That's the point. The answer is never to kill yourself. That's never allowed. You're never allowed. So again, the first one, like we said, feel a lot of pain. It's not a lot. It's a little bit. We can be grateful. I don't want to keep living like this. We don't have to. We can solve the problems. Okay, we can solve the sadness. We can dedicate ourselves to a greater mission, helping people who are less fortunate. We can find fulfillment in that, purpose in that, and therefore we will feel good inside because of that, and so on. And now someone says, okay, fine, I did that, but then the sadness came back, and I don't want to keep on going in a cycle like that. In a cycle like that. Well, we say when someone has a toothache, we pull out. If the next day they hurt their hand, we go fix it. A year later, they catch a fever, we give them medicine. 5 years later, they break their foot, we heal it. We give them surgery and so on. We never at any point for these physical situations say, okay, now it's time for you to kill yourself. Never. So why should it be any different for psychological or emotional illnesses or problems? It doesn't make any sense. And in fact, psychological and emotional problems are cheaper and easier to fix. It's harder to fix your hand that's broken, more expensive than it is to fix your thinking or to apply for a new job. Way easier. It's free, basically. You could do it yourself. Fix your hand, you need a surgeon. Fix your mind, your psychology, your emotion, you do it yourself. Huh? That's what philosophy is, in a large part. Huh? Fix your ideas, fix your thing. You do it yourself. Huh? So, you, there's no reason for you to go to that extreme when you can do the way cheaper, way easier thing, just like you would do if you hurt yourself, you broke your hand or something. You would never get to the point of saying, okay, now it's time for me to end everything. You would say, no, okay, I did this, now I need to fix this, no problem. And the benefit also of this cycle, it's not that you start at the same place. You don't, wherever you get sad, you fix it, you heal, you feel better. Now, when you get sad again, you don't start with the same place. You start now with all the tools that you developed, all the wisdom you developed, all the growth and maturity you developed from the last cycle. So now it's even easier. Okay? Excuse me. Like imagine you broke your hand one time. It was a new event. You were like, what the heck? I don't know what's gonna happen to me. So on. Scary, so on. And then you went into surgery and you learned how everything works. Now, if you break your hand again, now you're not going to be even bothered by it, right? Because you're like, oh, I've done this before. It's like, I understand. I'm going to go here. He's going to do the surgery. It's going to take 5 months to recover and so on. You see? It's the same thing for mental, emotional healing. You go through sadness one time, it's like, what the heck? This is so much. You go through it two, three times. It's like, now it's like, okay, I understand this. I know what to do. I know my patterns. I know what I'm doing wrong. I know how to fix it. I understand. I've got wisdom now. It's easy. It's not going to take me out for 6 months. Now it takes a week. I fix it like that. Or a day. I fix it. Or an hour like that. See? So each time it gets less and you become more wise. And through your wisdom, you can become a teacher, like a mentor. You can help those people who are struggling. You can help them. You can be like a light in the dark for them. Like me. Okay, I'm not saying that to big myself up, but the reason I can say all this, when I make these videos, I don't have a script. I could talk for like an hour, 2 hours. I don't have a script. There's nothing here that I'm looking at. Just looking at myself. The handsome guy with the tie on. There's no script. The reason I can go for this long is because I've been through so much stuff and overcame it, healed, gone through more, healed, got the wisdom, which is then why I can share it and I get fulfillment out of hopefully helping someone else, especially you guys that are younger. If I can help you and stop you from falling way deep into the black hole, if I can, just you can trip up and I can help you stand up again and you can get on your way. That for me is fulfilling, you see? So you can do the same thing, okay? So the sadness angle has no bearing, it doesn't, the logic is broken. I've destroyed it. The argument is destroyed. Sadness now is destroyed, is separated completely from suicide. It does not lead to that. Okay, there's no justification for it. Okay, now what about suicide itself? Killing yourself itself. Now, this in itself is an extremely unethical, bad, immoral act. Always, always. I've written an entire essay on this that goes into the details of it. But if I summarize it, essentially, suicide is one of the weakest, most cowardly, most disgraceful, most unethical, terrible things that you can ever do. Okay? Weak and cowardly and so on and ungrateful because fundamentally what you do when you kill yourself is not only do you rob the world of all of your talent, all of your special talent, your natural gifts, your natural presence, your beautiful energy, and yourself, which the world is in need of. It's in need of. There could have been so many different people here instead of you, but the universe chose you. How dare you now think that you're going to take yourself away from the universe uh, short? You're going to cut your life short when you're supposed to be here blessing us with your gift. How dare you take that away from everyone? Huh? And yourself, you rob yourself of what you could be. So there's the first thing. Now, the second thing is all of your ancestors, yes, throughout time, survived extreme situations so that you could be here. Your parents, grandparents, their parents before them, for 10,000 years before them, 100,000 years before them, a million years before them, they faced predators in the dark, lions and crocodiles and everything that tried to eat them. Members of their family were eaten. They were killed by diseases that they couldn't see, parasites that they couldn't see, and yet they strived, they pushed on so that you could be here. Now imagine when you die, if you do this terrible, stupid thing of killing yourself. Imagine you die. Excuse me. Imagine you die and that there is an afterlife and your ancestors are there. And imagine now you go to them and you say, father or grandmother, grandfather, here I am. I'm your descendant. Okay, I lived in this time, way after you were here. And they say, wow, how did you get here? How did you die? And then you say, I killed myself. Can you imagine the embarrassment, the disgrace, the shame that they would feel looking at you? The horror that they would feel that we sacrificed so much. We went through so much. How how dare you take the easy, weak, cowardly way out? You can't sit with us. You can't talk to us. We don't accept you. Imagine. They would say we don't. Imagine how that would feel. You meet your ancestors and they don't want anything to do with you. You brought shame to the family, to the lineage. Now imagine the inverse of this. Imagine you have, uh, in your eyes, a terrible life, which already we described as it's not true. Your life is great, okay, if you look at it properly. But in your eyes, you suffered a lot. You've been through a lot of pain, okay? Now imagine you die a natural death, however it is that death is going to come. You spend your life trying to do good with what you have, trying to make the best of what you have, refusing to take the easy way out, refusing to kill yourself, refusing to become a bad person. You dedicate yourself to the good. Now you die, and now you go and meet them, and you tell them, here's my life story. Here's all the troubles I went through. Here's all the hardship I went through. I thought about killing myself, but I didn't want to disgrace the family name. I didn't want to disgrace my own soul, my own reputation, my own courage. I didn't take, it was too weak for me to do that other option. I took my life like a man, like a woman. I took my life and lived. Yeah, I took all the responsibilities of my life, all the hardships of my life, and I lived. I didn't take the easy way. I didn't kill myself. I stayed alive. I stayed alive. I stayed alive. Now imagine how warmly they would greet you, how they would hug you, how they would say, son, daughter, come here. We love you. We are so happy to see you. You've brought honor to us. You are the guest of honor. Sit with us and tell us your life story. Imagine that. So there's your two options. Disgrace your lineage or bring honor to it. Meet your ancestors in the next life and they love you and embrace you, or they reject you. Now someone might say, I don't believe in the afterlife. That is stupid in itself. It's dumb in itself. It's very easy to understand that. If you understand that the universe requires infinity to exist in itself, go back far enough, the universe is not here. Meaning there has to be an infinity before it. People call this God. You can say there is no infinity before it, therefore the universe itself is infinite. Okay, so therefore on the other end, what do you have? If the beginning of the beginning side is infinity, what's on the other side? Infinity, obviously. So If the energy stops here in this form, energy isn't lost. Energy doesn't die like that. It transforms. Yes. So, in any case, now the suicide beyond this thing, okay, beyond this, let me just make it a bit more practical and then I'm gonna stop. Okay, hopefully this has convinced you enough to never do it. You must make a commitment, okay, to never do it, to never do it. It's never an option. It's never something smart that you can think about and argue out. There's no, I've destroyed the entire thing in every way. There's no option for it. The logic is completely false. Now, more practically speaking, imagine if you did kill yourself, God forbid. What would actually happen? Someone would find your body, and now that person is traumatized forever. And most likely it's going to be someone that you actually care about, your family or friends, someone. And so fundamentally, what suicide does, as we see with so many celebrities that do it, unfortunately, and then they get found by one of their kids or their partner, or whatever, their wife, girl, boyfriend, husband, whatever, is that suicide essentially destroys and breaks the heart of the people who deserve it the least. The least. You harm the most, the people who deserve it the least. This is what suicide does. This is why it's fundamentally evil. Beyond the fact that you're taking your own life, which was given to you by the universe, by divine, by divinity, by God, by infinity. The universe manifested you here like a hero in a video game, and then you stupidly go ahead and take your life. Hmm? How terrible is that? You kill yourself, you commit murder of yourself. That's what suicide means. Homicide is murder of someone else. Suicide is murder. You're murdering yourself. Okay, it's not like you're pressing a button. You're murdering. You're taking your life. You're killing. You're committing the act of killing on yourself. It's one of the worst, terrible things you can do. Okay? So, in any case, it's evil, pretty much. In every way, it's evil, fundamentally. Now, I'm not making a judgment, obviously, of those people who already passed on. God bless them. Maybe they didn't think about this. They didn't know. Okay? They were just too emotional to. But you now don't have an excuse, okay? Because I'm laying this out for you. You don't have an excuse. Especially now that we know that any of your problems that you have that are making you think this way, the pain, all of them can be solved. Every single one of them can be solved. And all of them are actually small compared to what they could be. They're small. Okay? So what you need to do is reject this suicide idea forever. Fundamentally. Anytime it pops up in your head, you reject it. You say never, no way, never. And all you have to do is just focus on healing the cause, which is sadness. And again, like I said, all of the problems have a solution. And I laid out some of them in the beginning. And if it takes basically gritting your teeth and telling yourself, no, no way, I reject the victim mindset. I'm not a victim. I reject self-pity. I'm not weak. I refuse that weakness, and so on. That's what you have to do. Okay? So, fundamentally, suicide is never acceptable. It's always bad, always wrong, never an option. And please, if you have these ideas, if you have even thinking about these ideas, please use the resources that I've put in the description for you. In the comments, I'll put them as well. Call someone, talk to someone. There's a lot of people that care about you. Okay, even if people around you don't care about you or you think they don't, there is a lot of people that are dedicated to helping you, that care about you, that will listen to you, okay, for free. You can text them even, you can email them, you can call them. There is a lot of help for you. So do not disgrace yourself, your reputation, your ancestors, your life. Don't rob yourself of the wonderful future that is waiting for you. Okay, when you get past this little obstacle, imagine how great you could be. You have no idea. Huh? Imagine how exciting that is. 5 years from now, you have no idea what you could be, who you could be, how great you could be. It's waiting for you. You just stay alive long enough to see it. You could change the world. You could be literally one of the people that, not just one of the people, every person that lives and dedicates themselves to living a good way changes the world for the better. You are literally a hero in a story. Why do you think all of our ancestors told them stories about the demigods and sun gods and all that? Because they recognize every human being is a hero in the story of the universe. So you have a part to play, a very important part to play. And your loss is like losing a star out of the sky. There's billions of stars, trillions of stars, but losing one is a tragedy. So don't let us lose you. Okay? Alright. Take care.